I'm a radio operator. Well, right now, man,
Let
something's
me
going. I need to bundle up and reconnect it. Right now, even if I was doing something.
okay, let me get out of this one. Let me get out of this one. Close that one. I'm gonna be on for a little while here. I'm just doing this setup. I'm getting all these gremlins, man. And this hub is acting up now. It was a hub right there. So right now I got the webcam hooked up straight to the computer. So getting all these what do you call it? I'm getting all these gremlins now on this PC, this setup here. I'm getting all these gremlins. So the TV first it started with the TV. The TV, now I'm getting all these stripes. Like this side of the TV is perfect, but over here I'm getting these little stripes. So it kind of mess up. It's messing up with it's messing with the resolution, and it'll stay like that for hours and sometimes even days. And then it'll come back to normal. And so lately, this TV is starting to be a hassle. For over the years, fine. But as a computer monitor now, I'm starting to get these lines. And then lately, I see like yellow, like the whole screen is yellow. And then when I have to do some kind of it's weird. I have to like go to the home screen and show it as a preview screen, and then you'll see the regular monitor resolution. Good evening, Tasso. So this TV is starting to give me issues in terms as a monitor. So I mean, I paid $300 for this TV about 8 years ago. Probably 7, 8 years ago. I don't remember. It was way before COVID. I bought this TV. I got it on eBay for $298. It's a 55-inch Roku. So it's, you get what you pay for. I mean, it's lasted me all this time. It still works, but as a monitor, it's starting to be unreliable. So I'm gonna, I can still watch TV and it's still good. But as a monitor, it kind of changes. And like I said, this side of the screen is like lines and whatever, and this side is not. And right now I put the chat for you have to be a subscriber for 1 hour or more. It's only subscribers only chat because I don't want to deal with trolls tonight. I'm just gonna be out for a while. I'm actually relaxing now. I was I was working out there all day. Now the roof is clean. All the branches are cut up. I threw most of it over the fence. I kept the bigger trunks in my yard because I'm going to cut them up into little firewood and keep them for like a a fire pit or something. Actually, what I do is I actually take some of them and I put them in the grill, and I use it as a fire pit. Or I have charcoal, but in case because I can cook with that firewood. I just cut it up into smaller pieces, and I put some lighter fluid. I can cook with that firewood. Once it's dried up, firewood. What you do is when you cut it up, you put it in the garage. You let it dry up. You can burn with it. It's good fire. It's good firewood. I burned many pieces of trees that we had out there. I cut them up. I have he's not a maul. You know what's a maul? It's one of those axes that you cut the wood in half. It's called a maul. MOLL, maul, like Molly maul. But I don't have the axe. I have just the metal, the head. The metal is it looks like a little just a steel head, and you put on the wood, and you got to hit it with a sledgehammer, and it splits the wood. That's how I split the wood. Like a log, if you want to split logs, I just hit that piece with a sledgehammer, and I split the log. But this one, the logs weren't that big. I just did it with a chainsaw. But if I want to split them up more, then I can split them with the maul. But it's just a piece of steel. I don't have the maul with the handle. So, but I can burn that wood and use it for firewood or whatever, So, yeah, I know. I saw the other day you picked up a whole bunch of stations. Yeah, when conditions are good, you pick a whole bunch of Philly stations. 106.1 is another one that you could pick up. That's Roomba 106. It's a Spanish station from Philly. 94.1 is a sports station. WIP. That one you can pick up sometimes. 97.5 is the Fanatic. So 97.5 when you get sporadic E. Yeah, I picked up that one also, WBLI. But when you get sporadic E, 106.1 will be the Roomba. Roomba 106. So it's for Philly. 102, which is the one they said 92.1. Okay. 102, I know I picked up Q102. I believe Q102. I'm trying to remember what else. There was quite a few. That I picked up. So Philly, I get quite a few Philly stations. And that's with the 4-element. The 4-element. That's the one that you picked. So Tasso said, me too, relaxing, going to sleep soon. I was listening to the stream earlier on my way home. Yeah, I was just watching the replay. So I picked up a station on 92.1 earlier. Sounds like Philly. I haven't looked it up yet. I repaired my mini TEF. Okay, 106.1. I released a video of WBLI. I picked up WPLR on 99.1 yesterday. I will post a video soon for Connecticut. Okay. Yeah, 99.1. That's what I get on 99.1. Oh, I get New Jersey. 99.1 is WAWZ from New Jersey. Star 99. That's the one. Yeah, that's the one I get. Star 99. Star 99.1. Yeah, that's the one I get. So, yeah, so I'm just relaxing. I'm tired. Anyway, my wife is off tomorrow. There's a small hole on the roof. So I had a metal plate. Now my brother had left there. It was a steel plate. I put a steel plate on top of the hole. And then I put a plastic, it's a thick bag. It's plastic. It's pretty thick. And then I put a small boulder on it, so it's not gonna move. So it's not gonna right now. It's not gonna rain tonight. I thought it was gonna rain, but right now the forecast. Right now I don't see no rain in the forecast, according to Microsoft right here, the weather thing. So. Yeah. Okay, oh, yeah. So so when you fixed it was tricky getting that little connector. Yeah, it is tricky. It's tricky lining it up, and then once you line it up, you push it in. You're gonna hear it snap, and you'll know because you're not gonna be able to take it out, and that's it. But it's something you don't want to do over and over. You only want to do it once if you can, and that's it. And then of course that one has the washer. So that one has the washer, the repair kit, right? So, make sure, I put the washer, the one that looks like that has teeth. I put that washer because that washer, and just tighten that nut as much as you can without breaking the case. with the washer, and that, by the way, when you tighten the nut with the washer, it's not gonna get loose anymore. It will not get loose anymore. So you tighten it, and then you're gonna need like a small. I have a small adjustable wrench. Is it around here? I have one around here. Is that one around here? Right here. So I tightened it with this guy. The little nut from the SMA. I just tighten it with this little guy right here. Just tighten it. And but don't over tighten it till you break. You don't want to break the case because it's 3D printed plastic. You want to tighten it. You want to tighten it to the point where you can't move it with your hand. Once you can loosen it with your hand, and that's it. Yeah, that's the next thing. Do not hook up a coax to it. Yeah. When you have a TF radio, you do not hook up a 75 ohm directly to it. Yeah. Buy that kit. Out of that kit, I just use the wire. See, my setup is I don't want to move that because I have it hooked up to the that camera is hooked up directly to the PC. So the way I have my setup is you can see right. I don't know if you can see because it's blocking. You know, I have the splitter right here, right? This is the 4-element. I'm gonna move it a little bit. This is the 4-element that's coming from outside. This is a splitter. One 75 ohm is going straight to this radio. Because this radio has a 75 ohm connector. It's a big connector, it's a regular size. I hooked this one straight to the Sony. But this one goes to the switch. Let me get this out of the way. So this wire is rigid. It's rigid. It goes straight to the switch. And then from the switch, I have 3 RG6X going into there. But the output is this one. You see how skinny it is? Oh, let me get this shit out the way. You see? You see how skinny this one is? See how skinny this one is? That's the pigtail. So that one's coming from the switch to my radio. Okay, this one doesn't put no stress on my connector. I would not hook up I would not hook up a coax, a thick coax into this radio. I would not do that. Because you're gonna want to break in this connector. You don't want to do that. You wanna from a fat pipe to a skinny pipe. That's what we call it in the plumbing world. So it goes from this switch, because I share this one with the Sony. I shared the 4-element with the Sony. And then this one goes to the three antenna switch. I know the lighting. I don't want to, I'm trying to, it's not bright in here today. I want to relax tonight. Let me turn on this. At least the colors. Let me at least turn on the colors. It's a little brighter now. So the three antenna switches right here. You can see it right here. So I have 3 coax going in there. So that's one of them. The other 2 are coming from, no. Well, that one is coming from the switch. The other one is the halo that's coming from underneath the desk. And then the third one is the west antenna that's coming from that window. From that window, the third antenna is here. So all 3 of them are occupied. And then the wire that's coming out of here is the pigtail. The one that I posted on Discord. That one's going to my radio. Okay? I would not hook up directly to it. I wouldn't do that. I would not do that. Don't do that. These connectors are not meant. These connectors are not meant to put a RG6 on it. It will break this over time. So, I will hook it up to a splitter, like any splitter. Like, where's my splitter at? Anyway, get a splitter like this, and then use, then put this one to your radio. I would not directly put it. Don't do that, because you're gonna break this connector. You're gonna break this connector. Even that radio, you'll break the connector, and you don't want to spend $70 on a radio like this to break the connector because you didn't want to buy a pigtail. Buy the pigtail. It's another $10, and you won't have to worry about. And by the way, you don't want to be, you want to have it set up, and you know what I mean. Yeah. Hello, Chicopee Radio. Hello, James Farley. I hope you're doing well. Yeah. So I will get the pigtail. Chicopee Radio. I'm gonna use the indoor antenna anyway. My outdoor antenna is no use right now. Okay, so, but I will still get an adapter. But you're gonna need an adapter. I would not get a 75 ohm. Just get the adapter and put the adapter right in the radio. I wouldn't do that. I will get the antenna. I will get the wire, get an adapter, and put a smaller wire into the radio. So if you're not gonna put it to a splitter, at least get an adapter that's going to convert it into a smaller wire. Where's my SMA wire? I'm trying to find one around there. I'll show you one of them. I'll use this one as an example. Like for example, I'll give you an example right here. This is an example right here. This is a SO239 connector. You know how big the SO239 is? I do it like this, and then this goes to the radio. I will not put an SO239 directly into the radio. I will not do that, because that will put a lot of stress. That will put a lot of stress on the connector. You don't want to do that. You want to do something like this. You got your regular, your RG6, that's what it's called, RG6, connected to a connector like this. That's going to convert it from that to this SMA. And then you got your SMA wire to your radio. Okay, you want to at least do this. You don't want to hook up your coax with an adapter straight into the radio. You don't want to do that because you're going to break the connector. So, spend the extra money. The same thing, by the way, RTSDR is the same connector. RTSDR is the same connector, right? I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, it's the same connector. SMA. The same connector, RTSDR, it's the same connector for the radio. The same connector. The same connector. So, get an adapter that's going to convert. It's called F connector. That's the television 75 ohm. This one, FM antenna. You get that adapter to SMA, and then this pigtail into your radio. That's what you should do, because otherwise you're gonna risk breaking the connector. And these connectors are not easy to fix. Ask Tasso. It was nail biting, right? When you fix that connector, was it nail biting? It was nail biting, right? It's not easy to fix. So, these are very tiny. These are very delicate. These are very delicate wires. They can easily break. I could easily pull this one. This one I think is not broken, but I broken a few that I pulled it out. So, yeah, those pigtails are great. They are. Yeah, I understand you just got the coax, but I'm just telling you to keep that in mind. I mean, you do what you want with your radio. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. But I'm not going to do that. I'll order it. It's a few bucks. You get the adapter. You can get this one. This is a male. You could get a female. F connect. You can get female F connecting, female F connector to SMA. You can get something like that too, by the way. You know, I know you get excited, Chicken B, and you want everything up and running. It doesn't work that way. Sometimes you gotta, you gotta do it right. Anyway, let me. What happened? Oh shit! Because I got all these wires. I got these wires. My mouse was going bad. I had a bunch of gremlins on this side. I'm telling you. Since I've been doing this side, I've had gremlins. Anyway, I'm not going to read every paragraph. I'm sorry. Please do not write things this big. I'm not going to read books today. I'm not going to read dissertations and all that. So keep it like one or two lines, if possible. Where am I? Yes, I'm not going to read all this. I'm sorry, I'm not going to read every single thing. I just can't. Yeah, so you definitely buy the adapter. Yeah, buy the adapter. Buy the adapter. James Foley, have you thought about wrapping a few turns of wire around the Belkin? No, the Belkin. No, the Belkin, there's a mod for that. Because what happened, I'll show you. Let me bring the Belkin down here. Okay, I don't want to fall. I don't want to fall right now. The chair's missing and you see my legs up in the air. The chair kind of rolled away from me. And anyway, this is the Belkin. This is the one that I got. So this is the antenna portion. This is the antenna portion right here. The antenna's in here. It's just a wire inside here. There's 3 wires. There's 3 wires in here. In here, there's 3 wires. There's 2 for the stereo. There's 2 for the stereo, and there's a 3rd one for the antenna. Now the mod, you have to open up this case, and you got to disconnect this wire. You got to disconnect there's 3 wires in it. There's a third one. You got to make sure you locate the wire that's the antenna. Disconnect that one, and then you could put on the board. There's an area where you could solder a new wire. When you solder the new wire, you got to drill a small hole. You got to drill a small hole, and you're gonna run the wire out. And the wire has to be the length for FM. It's not going to be like a 10 feet wire. I believe it's 27 inches. Like you want to get to the middle of the FM band, around 99.1. He's like the middle of the FM band. So that's about 27.5 inches, the wire. And that's it. It's not like medium wave. It's not 10 feet of wire. You don't need that. You don't need all that. You just 27.5 inches. And it's supposed to improve on this. It's supposed to improve on this. But I'm not going to do the mod on this one because I may do it anyway. Because I have this one now. The KM18. And I really like this one. And if you saw the video on it, I went all the way down. I went all the way down the block around the corner, and I still heard my station. And mind you, 88.1 is not an open station. I mean, it's not an open frequency. There's there's a station, a low power station that comes on. So 88.1, I was still able to pick up my transmitter from down there. So this one, I don't think I'm gonna do the mod. I may open it up, but this one, it doesn't have screws. So you got to pry this one open. So I don't know if I want to damage this one. I'll just keep it as you know, I don't know, because you know, I don't want to. I wish I could have returned it, but I paid like $17 for it, so I'll keep it. But I'm very happy with this one now. But there is a mod to open this up and put you solder a wire, a long wire, and but yeah, so you don't wrap a few wires, you just solder the wire and you run it out, and you just, you know, you could put the wire hanging like vertically or whatever, or you know. But when I bought this one blew me away. So this one right now, I'm happy with this one because you know, I really want it for around the house. See, the problem with the Belkins, they're not the best transmitters. The reviews on the Belkins, they're not the best. Although this one is a better audio than the original Belkin. This one is stereo too. But you know, I'll keep this one for, you know, my wife wants it for her car or whatever. I'll keep it for that. But this one blew me away. And this one, the audio quality is very good. I have to say that. So this one blew me away. So I'm very happy with this one. This one also has Bluetooth. So I can put any Bluetooth device to this. This one also has an SD card reader. So I could put a little SD card with music or whatever that I play the music. That's a little SD card reader. I could put up to 32 gigabytes. I can put on this one. It has Bluetooth, of course. It has the auxiliary input. So I hooked up, for example, my Wi-Fi radio. I had it hooked up to the Wi-Fi radio. I ran it for hours until the Wi-Fi radio was running out of battery. And then I finally disconnected it. And I was listening to a lot of old Art Bell programs. A lot of old coast to coast stuff and things like that. I was playing at 88.1. And like I said, 88.1 is not an open frequency. It's not 100% open. 88.1, I get I think Valhalla. I forgot. Is it Valhalla the one that I get? Anyway, so I get 88.1. I get another station. It's a low power station. Not RDS, but I get it. So I have to, this one takes over that one. Now, can I put out 88.2? Yeah, but it's not practical for car stereos. Remember, car stereos here in the United States, they don't tune. It's odd numbers. Here in the United States, FM is odd numbers. It's every two megahertz. No, not megahertz. No. Kilohertz. 200 kilohertz. Anyway, it's like 88.1, 88.3, 88.5, 88.7, 88.9. Then it's 90.1. You see what I'm saying? It's odd number. So, you know, if I'm setting up a FM station for people to listen to, I'm not going to put it on no 88.2. Now, mind you, if I would have had an 88.2 with no interference, I probably could have went 2 blocks away. Because there's nothing at 88.2, because that's not a commercial frequency here in the United States. So I could have done 88.2, and I may do a demonstration on that one day. Just put it at 88.2 and see how far I can go. But if I'm setting up an FM radio station for people to hear, I'm not going to put it at 88.2 because I want people to listen to it in their car, right? In their car, you know, you want people to pick up your station in their car. That's what I want. And by the way, this transmitter and this one, They don't go. The lowest is 88.1 because these are meant. These are meant for. These are meant for. For cars. They're meant for cars to transmit on. All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna have a cold. I'm letting my cold ones. I'm gonna have some cold ones tonight because I earned it. I work hard today. I got some cold ones waiting. So let me go get a cold one. Let me crack one open, and I'll be right back. I'll be right back. And I got my chips. Let me take this cup. This cup is. I forgot to ask how was my audio. Let me turn off the fan. Anyway, I'm turning off the fan because I got the fan blowing this way now. So but anyway, I turned off the fan. Let me see if the fan. Hopefully, the fan doesn't cause that sound. I just got the AC on. I just turned off the fan right now. So yeah, 100 watts. Okay, thank you. Audio's good. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, and so all of these FM transmitters, they only transmit at 1 milliwatt. So it's 1/100th of a watt. Oh. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's like is it 100 milliwatt? Milliwatt, not anyway. It's like one. I don't know if it's 1/10. I don't know if it's 1/10 of a watt or 1/100th of a watt. So I don't know what it is. So it's not that much power. It's not that much power. Yeah. Yeah, of course. I don't want to go like I don't want to do like watts because first of all, somebody will complain, and then I'll get a stiff fine. You just to listen around the house. If somebody picks it up outside, if somebody picks it up down the block, then so be it, and that's it. I do want to hook up my AM transmitter. I want to hook up. See why. I'm going to rearrange all this after the summer, and I'm going to set up a radio station. I want to set up a little radio station on somewhere in this room. I'm going to set up a dedicated machine to it. I'll probably use one of those old PCs. I'm going to set up a little radio station. So I'm going to use the AM transmitter. So my radio station is going to be hooked up to AM transmitter. Probably 1610 AM. That's the one I'm probably going to use. Or 1620 AM. Because there's nothing on 1620 here. So I may do 1620. Maybe 1620. And then on FM, it'll be, I don't know. I'm going to look around. It might not be 88.1. It may be something else. Let me do some digging, and then I also want to set up an internet stream. I do want to set up an internet radio. I want to set up an internet radio. Yeah, I'm going to simulcast. So when I do my live stream, I can simulcast that, things like that. So, cheers. Oh, that tastes good. Nice and cold. Oh, my God, that's good. Refreshing. That is refreshing. Yeah, so it does sound good on the FMDX web server. Well, I mean, and you know, because right there, and plus the TF is a good radio. You got that inspiration from me? No, I've been thinking about it for years. Don't give yourself credit. Sorry. No, I've been thinking about it for a long time. I've been thinking about it for a long. The internet radio station. I've been thinking about that for years. For oh man, like before I started the channel. And then, of course, I bought the Talking House AM transmitter. I bought that. Yeah, it's not because of you. Please. Don't flatter yourself. Sorry. Hate to blow up that bubble. Boop. But seriously, I bought the Talking House AM transmitter 7 years ago now. I had it for about 7 to 8 years. I know Keegan always, but Keegan been talking about it for years. That he has a radio, he has an internet radio and all that stuff. So, but I've been thinking about it for years, and I think the FMDX web server. What happened is the FMDX web server kind of gave me the medium to do it, because people can go on my FMDX web server and hear my radio station too. You see what I'm saying? So, but I've been thinking about it for a while to do an internet radio for a long time. Because before I didn't know what to put in it, but I was thinking about simulcasting my shows. Like when I go on live, it'll be simulcast there. But when I'm not live, I could play the Art Bell stuff. I could play Art Bell. I have CDs of other programming that I can put. I can put old time radio shows. I do like old time radio shows, so I can put stuff. I can put stuff like that. I could play some music, but I really want it to be more like talk. I gotta play some music when when I want to have a little fun. I'll play some music, and I want to set my. By the way, another reason why because I like this mixer for that. See this mixer on the mic, I could do my little radio station with this. For live streaming, it's okay, but I like this. I like this setup for the. Yeah, the albums. Yeah, I got. That's why I want to set up an area. I want to set up an area for my radio station. So I need to plan this in my head and kind of write it down, because I'm gonna use this as this is gonna be my mixer. I already have the microphone. This is the microphone for my radio station. This is the microphone for my radio station right here. So I'm gonna use this TikTok that I bought on TikTok. It's gonna be my radio station. I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use a transmitter. I have the power supply right here for that one, but I'll use the other one, the CB radio. I'll use the smaller power supply for this guy, for the 12 volt. And then I have my MP3 player, but what I'm going to do is I want to set up a PC. I'm going to set up a PC with all my collection, and I'm going to make playlists and things like that. And then also when I do live stream, I'm going to try to pipe it in there and see if I can play it. So it'll be some kind of setup, and it'll be a fun project to do. But this is going to be my. And this one I can put two. I can mix two live. So I can put a PC. I can pipe in a PC. And I can pipe in another audio source. with this one. And then, of course, you got the microphone. I could put 2 microphones. By the way, I could put 2 microphones in case I interview somebody. If I interview somebody, I could put 2 microphones. See? So if I had somebody here in the studio, I can interview them. So they'll be on one mic, I'll be on another mic. We could talk. If I want to have a guest on, this can do everything. So I could put 2 I could mix 2 sources. I have 2 microphones here. So this mixer, you know, and it has a little echo in it. It's okay. And then I'm gonna hook this up. By the way, I want to hook this up to a receiver. So this is gonna go to a stereo receiver. And then I'll put that receiver to here. This is gonna go to a stereo receiver to clean up the audio and all that. I don't have an equalizer, but I can pick one up. Pick up an equalizer or whatever. And then receiver, you know, give it, you know, you give it nice bass and all that stuff. Really enhance the audio. And then I can run it to my transmitter, and then that's it. So it's gonna go to a receiver. The receiver I'm looking into, probably that Sony right there. That Sony receiver right there, the silver one. Or I'll use the Yamaha. I'll hook it up to the Yamaha. I can hook it up to the Yamaha. Yeah, I'm planning it out. So right now I'm in the planning stage. So, you know, because, you know, I want to have fun with the hobby. And, of course, you know, medium wave DXing is kind of like, short wave is kind of like, So I'm thinking about building a radio station. Building a radio station, have all my vinyl records lined up. I could play some oldies. And by the way, it's not necessary for YouTube. I can live stream on Rumble. I can live stream on other medium. I can live stream on whatever. I don't have to play music on YouTube because they're going to shut me down. I can play live stream on TikTok or whatever. Things like that, you know. So let me read over here. So Chicopee says, you sound great on the FMDX web server. Okay. 100 watts I can listen. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen because I don't want, by the way, that's another thing. I don't want to violate FCC rules. That's why I want to include an internet station. Because for the people that are not going to, see, I'm going to have it on AM. The AM, there is an option where I can put by the way, AM, there is an option where I can put an antenna. For AM radio, there is an option where I can put an outdoor antenna. So I was thinking about using the 102-inch CB whip for that too. Because long enough, or maybe I'll design my own antenna. I seen videos where somebody designed their own AM transmitting antenna, and they got out a few miles. So you might pick me up on AM, Tasso. You could probably pick me up on AM on 1620 if I can get it up in the air, if I can get an antenna up on the roof and all that. You might hear me on 1620, an open frequency like that, on the AM dial. I could put as high as I can. So I'll look into that. But I'm going to have an internet stream also. So internet stream. FMDX web server, you'll hear it there once in a while. But I really want to have an internet stream. So I need to look into that. And one that's not going to cost me no money because I'm not paying no fees. I'm not doing any of that. I'm going to try to do it on the cheap. Free. So yeah, I might simulcast. I don't know. I would like to, because I want people to say, "Oh, I heard you, and I heard him." And of course, I'm gonna mention my channel, Danny Radio and Tech, at Danny Radio and Tech, and things like that. So I'll be saying my handle, DJ Danny. Tasso says, yeah. So Sugar B says I operate XL 106.5. Okay. Yeah, I have boxes of old albums, so I would like to play that too. That's another reason why I wanna incorporate the other stuff now. That's the thing. I want to incorporate the other stuff now. I'm kind of like already, I hate to say it, I'm kind of tired of the shortwave stuff. And I want my channel to, to do the next step, which is like, internet radio station, things like that. I want to set up a studio. I always wanted to set up a studio, like a real studio with a mixer and soundproof it maybe. Of course, it's kind of hard to do when my son is playing upstairs and jumping. Now, of course, one day, now that I've got to fix that garage thing, I would like to set it up in the garage. By the way, many great stations started in the garage. Or great podcasts and things like that. So, I want to take it to the next step, I may apply for podcasting on Spotify. I thought about Spotify podcasts. Maybe take this show and convert it to a Spotify podcast. I looked into that a couple of years ago, but I think when I set up a dedicated station, then maybe that may be the next step. And that may be the next step. So, because, your channel, my channel, I started my channel the way I started, and it's evolving now, like what Mary just said, internet radio, things like that, the Wi-Fi radio receiver, and, it's evolving, where it's not, I enjoy meeting with DX, but it's not the same anymore for me. It's like I already did all that. I already caught hundreds of stations. FMDXing is fun, is exciting, yeah. And that only occurs in the summertime, really. But there's other stuff I want to try out, and so it'll be fun. Danny Radio International. Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm not gonna read all that. Sorry. I know you posting all this. I know you bragging about your station. Good for you, but I'm not gonna read all that. So I know you're excited about, but yeah, I'm glad you're doing all that. It's cool. Kiss USA. I see you. You enjoy that stuff. That's good. Like Keegan the Extra, he has his own radio thing, and that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Man, you're posting a lot of stuff now, bro. I'm not reading all that stuff. Sorry. You're excited, bro. The minute I say I want to have my radio station, you got excited. You was dying to chat today. You've been chatty all day. But yeah, I'll look into it. I wanna have it, because I want to do it where I want to have a setup. Because I honestly I have fun doing that here with the mixer and all that. Because when I bought this, I was gonna try this out on the live stream. But on the live stream, it's like, But when I did the FM DX web server with this, it was fun because I would, when I want to talk, I would bring up the microphone and talk. Lower the microphone, hear my voice, you hear the music, the song finish, and that will come on. And sometimes I would play. I was playing also some sound like when I hear the fans clapping, I would play the fan. That one. The cheering, I would play the cheer. Of course, when I was playing some rap music, I was playing the gunshot. It's kind of cool. And then of course I would put the echo every so often when I'm talking. So it made it kind of fun. So I kind of okay, this could be cool. So I definitely want to incorporate this. Of course, later on, who knows? Maybe I get after I do. Maybe I'll step it up and get a better mixer and all that. I'm just getting my feet into that. That can I say, dabbling into that. Have fun. But I don't want to I'm not trying to broadcast out here so everybody can hear it. No. Just, whatever the transmitter can do, that's it. I'm not gonna go beyond that. Because I do want to have an internet stream. And that's it. And of course I got my channel. And I don't expect it to be I expect it to be one or two people listening to it once in a while. They'll have a website. I'll get some feedback on it. Or they'll come to my channel and tell me, oh, yeah, whatever. Your radio programs sound very good. I really enjoyed it. Okay, cool. That's all. It's not to, remember I always say that I wanted to have my own radio station. My own radio show. So that way it is like practice. Maybe even have a call-in line eventually. People can call in. I listen to this one podcast. He only has 3 people calling in every episode he does. He only has 3 or 4 people calling in. And that's it. And they're regulars, he knows them. So if I do a call-in show, it's gonna be only you guys calling in. If I do call-in show, it's gonna be one of you guys calling in. That's it. It'll be James, maybe Tasso might call in or somebody. I say it's gonna be one of you guys. It's not gonna be unless it really gets a following. It'll be like a call-in show, and I said people at my age are retiring from radio, so I'm not. Sandra is gonna call in. Sandra's gonna call in. Miss, I swim 100 laps. She fit, bro. She swim 100 laps, bro. She fit, bro. I gotta see a picture of her. She gotta be fit. She gotta be fit, right? Right, James? She's a swimming. She swims. You know how fit you gotta be to swim 100 laps? You gotta be tight. You gotta have a tight body, boy. You got a tight swimmer's body, probably, right? Oh my God, I'm gonna get in trouble, man. I gotta get in trouble upstairs. Keep talking about Sandra. On your laps in the jacuzzi. That's right, baby, right? On your laps in the jacuzzi. That's funny. On your laps in the jacuzzi, bro. Yeah. So you could be posting a lot of shit also. There's it. Also on AM2 on 1500, Chicopee, Massachusetts, and 1380. Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna because I have the Talking House transmitter, which is pretty good. By the way, the Talking House transmitter is pretty good. There's some mods on that to really clean up the audio. So where's my Talking House transmitter? Let me see that. Let me see if I can bring it over. I got a mess here, man. Let me see if I can bring it over. Anyway, it's a mess. So here. Anyway, I gotta clean this place up. But yeah, the Talking House AM transmitter. I want to use it, man. I want to use it. I want to use it. You know. I want to use the AM transmitter. So I got my FM transmitter right here. Now, eventually, I would like to get the C Crane. The C Crane FM transmitter. But right now, I'm very happy with this one. So, I'll get it when I get it in the future. I really want to get a good price on it. But the C Crane FM transmitter, it does have a mod. All you have to do is open it up and crank up the potentiometer. And that one I heard is pretty good. The C Crane FM transmitter. RRT08, Todd. Old movie, Pump Up the Volume with Kristen Slater. Okay. Yeah, what's that movie? Oh, Do the Right Thing. Have you ever I know it's not your type of movie, people. I mean, for us, well, I grew up in the Bronx, so it's kind of my type of movie. It's a Spike Lee movie. It's called Do the Right Thing. In there, Do the Right Thing, there's a pirate radio station. And Samuel is played by Samuel L. Jackson is the radio DJ for his pirate station in Brooklyn. He has a pirate station. So have you ever seen that movie, Do the Right Thing? That kind of sums it up how I grew up. Because it's about, the summertime in Brooklyn. It was hot. So, of course, the whole thing with the fire hydrant. Remember I told you about the fire hydrant? Back then, there was no sprinkler cap. Although now, also the fire hydrants now, they have a special cap on the top. You cannot use a regular pipe wrench to open it now. Now there's a special wrench that goes on top of it. And that's how they open it. It's not a regular, you cannot use like a pipe wrench to open up the fire hydrant now. Back in the days you did, but now all the fire hydrants in New York City have it's another cap that goes on top. And only the fire department has that wrench. It's a special wrench. It has like all these grooves on it. So back then, people could open it up like that, but that's not the case anymore. And also, like I said, now they put sprinkler caps on there. Like for example, when it's hot in New York City, some areas you might see a sprinkler cap with the pump open, and people get wet out there. Cool off. So, so you saw that movie? Okay, yeah. So anyway, the station. That was a pirate radio station. That was Samuel L. Jackson. I forgot the name of the radio station, but he plays, music, of course. And he's a DJ, and it was pretty cool. And of course, he's behind the glass, right there in the neighborhood, and he, see what's going on, and he will, it's pretty cool. So, But of course, I would do it like part 15. I would not do it. I would not, you know, you said 100 watts. No, first of all, I'll get a big ass fine. I'll lose my equipment, and I'll probably lose my license. My amateur radio license will be revoked. And not only revoked, you'll be banned from getting another one. So why would I want to risk all that? You know? Nah, I just want to do something, a fun little station for me. Yes, hey, listen here. The internet radio station I can do, so people can listen to that all around the world. And of course, FMDX web server. People come on here. I will probably put that eventually part of the description. Part of the description, and eventually I will put 88 point whatever one will be my radio station. Things like that. You know, things like that. Now in the future also, by the way, if I do that radio station in the future, I may set up a second TEF server just to play the radio station on the TEF. I have that one locked in on, admin lock. I'll leave the chat open. And I have that one locked in. And I'll probably use this radio. I'll probably use maybe I'll use this radio for the second TEF server. Maybe I'll use this one. Or maybe I'll get a metal version of this radio or something. Or, it's down the line, something like that. Maybe I'll get another one of these. And put this one over there and have the new one here. I'll get another one. I really like this one for FMDX web server. And I'll use that one just for I'll have that one for AM and FM and all that. This one will be the way it is. With the, you gotta have fun. You gotta have fun. You gotta change things up in this hobby. You gotta change things up in this hobby. You can't do the same thing over and over. It gets old and repetitive. I don't know how people can tune other channels that they just do the same thing every week over and over. I just can't, And I'm not knocking them. Honestly, I'm not knocking them. Listen, that's what they like. They like, But I like to, and I always been that way. I like to do something, but then after a while, I want to do something else. I'm always doing other things. I don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over, Especially at my age, I'm not trying to be like the old, really old guy. But, at some point, you got to diversify, you got to do other things. You got to do other things, That's all. It just is, that's all. It's not knocking on anything. It's just, but yeah, I'm going to rearrange all this. This radio I'm not using much anymore. So I may retire this one. I may put this one on the shelf somewhere else. I may put the Grundig 800 down here. I want to rearrange all this. This TF web server, I may put it up here now, the screen up here, with the TEF up here. I'm going to rearrange things. And I'm going to wait till after the summer. After the summer, I'm going to start rearranging things. And then I'm going to set up my radio station. I want to set up my radio station. So I'm going to set up an area with a radio station. I may also change the orientation. I may put the desk over here and use that as the backdrop. But I'm going to take all that down. I want to take all that down. I'm probably going to reinforce these shelves. I'm going to reinforce them to hold radios. And I'm probably going to have all my radios over here. So I'm getting ideas. I'm going to overhaul. Because when I did this setup, at first I was okay with it, but I wasn't crazy about it because there's not much room in here. And, mm, even though it's right next to the window, I know the AC, but I feel like I need to revamp it. I need to. It's getting old now. You have to change it up every couple of years or so, or whatever, you know. Otherwise, it just gets, you know. So I'm thinking about taking all those boxes down. Yeah, I know a lot. That's why by the way, I kind of miss that, James. But I can't do it with these walls because the radiator sticks out. I can't put the shelving here because it sticks out and the ceiling is too low. So I'm gonna kind of do a mix of both. So I may put some radios here, but I need to reinforce that. I can't not use these brackets the way it is. I need to, or I may bring them down and try to put them in here. I don't know if I can do that possible. Yeah, kind of, sort of, but I can't do what I did upstairs because that ceiling is a lot higher. Over here, the ceiling is too low. And also remember that. Remember originally when I had that here in the background, I had one here in the background. Originally, remember what happened was, I was getting threat of flooding down here. But that thread has, since I installed the sump pumps now, and I have a lot of vegetation. I have trees out there now and all that. That kind of mitigating the flooding issue. I mean, knock on wood, I haven't got any flooding anymore in this basement. Again, knock on wood. So that's why I'm kind of confident in coming back down to the basement and bringing everything down. But I want to redo. And that TV having there, it kind of worked and it didn't work so well. You know, and now of course with YouTube cracking down on anything, I was hoping to show programming and all that, but YouTube is not making it easy for me. So it kind of, honestly, it's taking up space. You know, I may go back to putting the shelving here. I don't know yet. I don't know, but that TV is probably gonna. I'm probably gonna mount this TV on another wall somewhere, and I'm probably gonna. I don't know yet. That's why I need to plan this carefully this time, because I don't want to be doing this every 2 years, every 2-3 years. But you know, when I go upstairs, I like upstairs, but my brother's the next door, and you know, we do want to rent it out. Actually, my wife, you know, eventually, I think it's better for her to take that room and do her arts and crafts in there and all that. You know, I have my basement. I'm gonna bring everything down to the basement. I just gotta, you know, I gotta organize better, and I'm gonna have to get rid of some stuff if I have to. No, I need to buy. I need to buy more. I need to buy more screws. I ran out. I ran out of those screws. I need to get those screws. I like those screws, but it's not. It's just I need to you know. Remember, I took everything out of here and I ripped out the floor. Now I need to do that room, rip out the floor and all that, and then set up that room. And then even if it means putting the bed back in that room, I have another AC that I can put in that window in the bedroom, and I can utilize more space here. But I had to organize it better. Right now, it's just a mess. Right now, it's a mess in here. It's a mess. You know, because I thought for a while this was going to be the backdrop was going to work, and it did work for a while. But now this TV is starting to act up. I'm not going to buy a new TV just to put here. I'm not going to do that. I don't need to. So I'm at the point now where I just, you know, I think it ran its course. So it's kind of, I do want to, honestly, James, I do want to go back to that. I want to have my old radios in the background and all that. I want to have radios in the background again and things like that. And not only radios, I have other stuff in the background. You know, kind of like, you know, when you guys, kind of when you see this, you see all the radios in the background. I think people like this better than having a big monitor behind me. Because I was, I was never happy with it. In my head, I thought it was going to be good. In my head, I thought it was going to be better, but it hasn't worked out that way. So, you know, so I'm gonna revamp it. Yeah, it's still up there. Everything's still the same up there. So I may have to bring all that stuff down, put 2 shelvings right here, and I may fill this up. And I can, it's not gonna take that long. But I want to plan it out first. I want to plan it out what I want to do, and then I'll go ahead and do that. Because I really want to get all my stuff out of there and bring it here. And then also, plus, I have all those patches, military patches. I got, right now everything's up there. I have QSLs remember the QSLs? I had QSLs up. So I feel like this is not working anymore. This is not working anymore for me. So I want to go back to that. I want to go back to that. Yeah, like the Commodore section, the Mario section, exactly. I want to have, where I can, I have my radio. I can do retro gaming also. Excuse me. Yeah, but it's not only that. I wasn't comfortable up there. Because my brother's next door, and even though it's a lot bigger room, but I also remember, you guys got used to it. My kid making noise. At first, I went up there because I thought it was going to be quieter up there. And it was quieter, but it was kind of like hot up there. Yeah, too many ears. Exactly, my brother. And over here, I just like it down here better. Plus my antennas. It was a pain to put all the antennas going up there. It was actually up there. No, it was a lot noisier. Reception wise, it was noisier. Down here, all my antennas, they're not. It's better in the basement. It's just better. I mean, the next best thing is the garage. Eventually, if when I could fix the garage and paint it and all that, I think the garage will be the best. The garage will be the best. The problem with the garage is security. The problem with the garage is security. Is until I put new garage doors and all that, and also climate. Because remember, there's no heating in the garage. So in the wintertime, I'll be freezing in there. In the summertime, it'd be too hot. Unless I can install a cooling and heating system in the garage. It's just a lot of things. The garage will be perfect, to be honest, because I have more space in there. Once I clear up the space, I have. But right now, it's a security issue. That garage door, you saw it's rickety, it's old. But everything costs money, bro. Like I said, I think at some point I may just but I want to bring it down here first. I need to bring everything back down here. Make it everything. Yeah, security. The garage is security. Imagine all that expensive stuff in there. And we go out of town. Somebody breaks in there. And my brother, he's the only one upstairs. And sometimes I hate to say, he's anyway, forget it. I don't know. Security. I'll leave it at that, security. So, yeah. Yeah, James. But James, what happened is sometimes you got to try different things. Because if you don't try, you're not gonna know. So I thought by me doing this format, it was gonna be pretty good. But turning out to be a pain. Right now, this TV is acting up. I'm getting technical issues with this TV. Uh, it's not practical anymore for me. So it's time to revamp to revamp it again. So I want to revamp it again. So I'm gonna wait till after the summer, and then I'm gonna I'll probably do live streams from that corner for a few months until I can redo all this. So I'm gonna put a I'm gonna take everything out and I'm gonna mount everything here. But I'm very close to going back to the way I had it. Remember in my original live stream, I had the shelving here. I had that rack mount here, but this time I'm not gonna put the rack mount here. I'm gonna have shelving here, and I'm gonna have another shelving here, and that's gonna be all full of radios. All full of radios, and then this TV is gonna go probably on that wall. I'll probably put the TV on that wall just for me to watch. I'm gonna take down those shelving. I'm gonna reinforce these. By the way, a lot of these boxes are gonna go bye-bye. They're taking up too much space. I have to go through each box, which ones I want to keep, which ones I don't want to keep. I'm gonna have to purge half at least. Just get rid of them. See, like I got like headphone box up there. I don't need that no more. Throw that shit out. I'm hoarding boxes too many now. So I'm just gonna keep the real important boxes, like my Yaesu box, in case I ever want to sell it one day, like that. But the other ones, the smaller items, I'm just gonna throw away the box. I'm not gonna need it anymore. I don't plan to sell anything. All the instructions, I do have like a little plastic filing case. I put all my instructions in there, things like that, if I ever need. Like it's like a filing. It's in a box. It's like a little filing box. I do keep instructions in there of a lot of older stuff. So, I just need to organize it here. But I'm definitely going to revamp this. So that this screen is going to go to the other side, and it's not going to be a backdrop anymore. I'm going to do away with all that. I want to have like one desk with the ultra wide and this monitor. This monitor and the ultra wide. So I'm going to have to bring down the other standing desk. And that's going to be, I'm going to have to take it apart and bring it down. And then this smaller standing desk is just going to go, I don't know, maybe in the other room. Or I'll take it upstairs or something. I don't know. Or maybe get a new one. Maybe get a new one and just build it here. I can get a bigger standing desk and just put it here. But I don't know if I want to do that. Anyway, oh, maybe not. I'll just use a folding table. I can use a folding table too. It doesn't have to be a standing. That's what I had. Originally, what I had here was a folding table. Before I went to the second floor, I had a folding table right here. It was just a 4-foot folding table. So yeah. So yeah, but I'm definitely gonna revamp it because it's time. But I want to set up an area for my radio station. I'm definitely gonna set up an area for that. And that bed is gonna go probably in the next room. And then in the wintertime I'm okay, but in the summertime when it gets hot, then I may, I have two in that room. I have two windows. I could probably fit an AC in one of those two windows. Or if I have to, I'll get one of those. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not gonna. Yeah, of course. Todd, I remember you talking about the garage makeover. Yeah, but that's a long way from now because now you see what happened with the. For example, you saw what happened. Now I got a hole on the garage. You see what I'm saying? So even if I put stuff in the garage, I have to worry about that tree. The tree. So God forbid that tree ever comes down and destroys the garage. And all my stuff is in there. You see what I'm saying? So that's another wake-up call. So you see what I'm saying? So I got a hole on the roof. I got a hole on the roof. It's a small hole. I put a steel plate temporarily on top of it. But I'm gonna have to cover. But you see what I'm saying? And that was a big branch that put us that hole on the roof. It's a hole about this big. About that big. So you see, that I have to worry about too. Falling tree limbs on my garage. So yeah, so that's the other thing about the garage, you know. That's why I don't know if I want to do it in there. Now I'm thinking about the whole tree thing. At some point I'm gonna have to. Well, I gotta clean the garage anyway. I have to clear it out. Yeah. James Foley, by the way, I went on one of those fancy radio guys channel live stream the other day and asked him about the MLA 30. He said he never heard of it. He'll check into it. Yeah, of course not. They don't know anything about anything. They are the ham readers. They don't know anything about radio listening and all that. Radio listening and listen, the knowledge that I acquired here, and that's another one, James. Leaks. That's another thing I have to worry about there. Leaks. And flooding. Because that garage has gotten flooded. That garage has gotten flooded. I'm talking about like inches of water. Inches of water. So, you know, I don't know if I ever want to do that in there. You know, it'll be a long time from now if I ever do anything in that garage in terms for that. I think I'm more comfortable here. Because the problem with the garage is I have to go outside. I have to open up the front of the garage, just go in there. I don't have a side door. In the garage, I don't have a side access door to just go in the garage. It's not like that. The garage, I can only go through the front. So if I go to the front, I have to open up the garage, go in there, close the garage. It's too much, you know. I'd rather be here. I'd rather be in here. I'd rather be here in the basement. So yeah. So he said he'll look into it. Yeah, because you know, I said that the other guy, the one that you mentioned one time, you know, I'd worry about those neighbors that park in front of your place. Yeah, but it's not only that. It's just, you know, but yeah, I think I'd rather have it in the garage. It's more for convenience. I'd rather have it here in the garage. I mean, in the basement. I'd rather have it in the basement. But the basement is pretty much mine anyway. In terms of, you know, I just need to fix it up already. Remember, it's not only this room. I have that room too. I have 2 rooms. By the way, I can knock down this wall and extend it. I can knock down this whole wall and open it up. And it'll be one big room. I can do that. I thought about that too, but I haven't gotten there yet. I don't know if I want to do that yet because we might sell the house one day, and I want to keep this basement as a as an apartment type thing. So if I knock down this wall, it'll be a one big room, but it's I don't know. I thought about that too. But the reason why I like this room closed, because I lock that door and I go to sleep, and I have privacy. If I knock down this wall, I lose my privacy. Because they're coming down the stairs. Sometimes they got to go to the chest freezer to get something, or they have to go use, whatever. You have to go to the pantry. I lose the privacy. This is my privacy. That door is my privacy. So if I were to knock down this wall, I lose the privacy part. So I gotta have a little privacy. Like when I go to sleep, you know what I'm talking about. Just privacy, just general privacy. Like I want to fall asleep. I don't want to wake up and somebody's sitting on my bed, looking at me or whatever, creeping me out or something. Yeah. Cranking it up tonight, bro. I ate some pasta. I took a nice shower, bro. I shaved. And I'm relaxing right now. I'm gonna relax tonight. I'm gonna wake up late tomorrow. I'm gonna relax. Tomorrow I'm gonna clean upstairs. I'm gonna help I'm thinking about building shelving, just build the whole thing myself. That's what I'm thinking about building the James Farley, where do you and your family go to eat the other day? Where did we went? Oh no, we went to IHOP. I think the last time we ate together was no Applebee's. We went to IHOP, but I think the last time we went to Applebee's. We went to Applebee's. It's not far. We went to Applebee's. We sat down and went to Applebee's. Yeah, it was Applebee's. Applebee's, yeah. You know. Like if we go sit down to eat together in a restaurant, we usually go to like one of those chain restaurants. Like usually it's Applebee's. Although sometimes my son wants pancakes and all that stuff, then we go to IHOP. And then in there I have my steak omelet. Oh my god, that steak omelet is the best. Ooh. But usually it's like an Applebee's or Chili's. Chili's restaurant. The chain restaurants. Like when we go up to Walmart up there, they have a Chili's. So up there is Chili's. All the way up there too, they have an Outback Steakhouse. And then we go once in a while. I think we only been to Outback a couple of times, but it's been a while since we went to Outback. So usually it's like an Applebee's or Chili's. Once in a while we'll go to a buffet. If we go to Poughkeepsie, there's a buffet up there. Yeah, they have appetizers. But the buffet up there, they closed. The one in Poughkeepsie is closed. It was a big buffet, but that one they just closed it now. We went up there a few weeks ago, but it was closed. No, we usually go to like an Applebee's, get a whole bunch, get appetizers and things like that. You know, it's not cheap though. It's expensive, man. All these restaurants now break the. All these restaurants now, when you go in there, is oh my god, for three of us, me, myself, my wife, and my son, shit breaks your wallet, bro. Your wallet destroy your wallet. Oh, they close all the Applebee's in your area? No, we have a couple of them here. We have one in the Cross County Mall. We have one in Central Avenue, all the way up to Central Avenue. It's not close by. It's we still got it. The one in the Cross County Mall. That one is the closest. Cross County Mall, Cross County Center. Excuse me, not mall. Cross County Center is like a shopping center and all that. They have a lot of stores there. They have a lot of stores. So there's an Applebee's there. Olive Garden. We used to eat there, but like when I first met my wife, that was my first dinner date. Was the Olive Garden? I took her there. I took her to the one in Times Square. That was the first time we went out to eat. We went to the Olive Garden in Times Square. I took her there. And then we went there again. I think another time we went there, we ate again there. When we first met. Yeah, I love the breadsticks, of course. The salad. I always love the Olive Garden salad. And then there's an Olive Garden up here somewhere, Central Avenue. We ate there once, but it was okay. It wasn't all that. But I don't know what happened. I think that one is closed down. The one up here. They closed that one down. Then for a while we used to eat at Uno's. But the Uno's are closed. They went out of business. That's when we used to eat a lot. In Central Avenue was Uno's. But they closed down a few years back. Like 5 years ago. They went out of business. Uno's. So right now it's mostly Applebee's, Chili's, and then sometimes they have Chinese buffet up there in Central Avenue. We go to a Chinese buffet once in a while. Everything else is takeout, like Chipotle's takeout. They used to have a Pizza Hut up there where you could sit down and eat and all that. But that Pizza Hut went out of business. They used to have a Pizza Hut up there that was nice. You could sit down and eat. They had a buffet inside Pizza Hut. It was like a pasta buffet with, and it had salad bar, Pizza Hut. But that one went out of business a few years ago. Like 3 years ago, they closed up shop. Now there's a new restaurant that took over that spot. So, but even Pizza Hut used to be nice. The one up there on Central Avenue, all the way up there by Scarsdale. It was a nice Pizza Hut. We used to love that Pizza Hut. You have a pizza, but they also have the buffet. Oh, Dairy Queen also. Yeah, that's another one that when we go up to hello, Andy. I hope you're doing well. When we go to Poughkeepsie, my son likes Dairy Queen. So we go in there. Dairy Queen. I have a burger, French fries, or a hot dog. My son, he loves Dairy Queen. You got the Blizzard. Blizzard? That's what my son likes. I have to chime in, but Dairy Queen's closed. Yeah, I know. And so there's a Dairy Queen up there in Poughkeepsie, all the way up in Poughkeepsie. That's the only Dairy Queen around here. Around Dairy Queen. DQ. You have to chime in. Yeah, it's okay. You can chime in. But yeah, thank you for reminding me about Dairy Queen. My son loves Dairy Queen. Chi-Chi's, I never ate at Chi-Chi's. I never ate at Chi-Chi's. Never ate at Chi-Chi's. Well, there's no Chi-Chi's around here that I never seen it. I never been to a Chi-Chi's. So my son loves Waffle House. Of course, over here there's no Waffle House. When we went down south, when we went to Florida, when we took the road trip to Florida, of course, going south, then we went into Waffle Houses. My son loves a Waffle House. So, like when we went to Virginia, I think the first Waffle House I ever been to was in Virginia. That's the first time I ever been to a Waffle House. Was in Virginia. We were going down to Florida, and we stopped on the way there. In Virginia, we had Waffle House. My son fell in love with it, and every time he kept going down 95, he always wanted. Oh, what are we gonna eat? Can we go to Waffle House? Yeah. Ruby Tuesday had good salad bar, but yeah, I never ate at Ruby Tuesday. TGIF, I did eat, but I think TGIF is out of business now. I don't know if there's a TGIF still here. I think they're out of business. I think TGIF went out of business here too. TGIF, they had one here in Central Avenue, but I think that one is gone. TGIF. So yeah. But yeah, when we go out and eat, we eat like, place like that. We take our son, we like to sit and eat. Of course, my wife is a vegetarian, so it's kind of harder on her to get vegetarian food because she's yeah, in Yonkers, Central Avenue in Yonkers. Of course, Central Avenue goes all the way up to Scarsdale and all that. Central, goes all the way up there. Yeah, yes, McRibs. White Plains, yep, it goes all the way up. So there's a lot of places to go. There's a lot of places to eat. And hello, McRibs 7880 McRibs 7811. Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. When I say Central Avenue, I'm talking about all the way up there, ShopRite, Chipotle, all the way up there. Westchester County Center, all the way up there, and so on, You know what I'm talking about. James Bond, I used to like, but I never ate a Bonanza. I heard of Sizzlers, we had one. Sizzlers, there was one on Central Avenue. Years ago. We used to eat at Sizzlers. We used to eat there a lot. That was the shit back then. The Sizzlers. We used to eat Sizzlers a lot. And they went out of business. They're gone now. They've been gone for years. And of course, Red Lobster, I ate there once. Red Lobster, I ate there. We went to eat there once, my wife and I. But I don't know what she wanted to. She's a vegetarian, but she wanted to take. She was like, I know you want to eat there, so. And we sat down to eat, and I saw a mouse go by. I saw a mouse go by on the Red Lobster Central Avenue, and I told my wife, let's get the hell out of here. I saw a mouse ran by the floor. We sat at the booth. We sat down, and I'm about to order, and I look over, she's looking at me. I'm sitting here. She's sitting there. I look over. I see a mouse. I said, honey, let's get the hell out of here. I'm not gonna eat in here. And that one, I felt it was dirty. It was the table was all sticky. You know, that didn't do good. I said, I don't want to eat in here. And when I saw that mouse, I saw a mouse ran by. I said, nah, I'm getting the hell out of here. A mouse running on the floor right there. This mouse running right there in the restaurant right there. I'm not gonna eat in here. Hell no. I fucking got up and left. I said, yo, honey, let's get the hell out of here. I said, let's get the hell out of here. I'm not gonna eat in here. So we got up and left. And when we ended up going to Outback. We went to Outback, which was right nearby Outback restaurant, steakhouse, whatever. The Bloomin' Onion. Yeah. So Andy says, Google says it's only 79 TGI Friday. Yeah, I don't know if that one is still in there's one up there. I don't know if it's still there. I don't know. I don't know if it's still there. Got you. Yeah, McRibs. McRibs said, I came upon this live. Yes, Sizzler by Caldos was good. Caldos. Oh, that's a long time ago, man. I moved to Yonkers in 2012. So Caldos was bingo. When I lived in the Bronx, hello, Ron Sear, 1850, Big Howdy One, and hello, I hope you're doing well. When I lived in the Bronx, there was a Caldors. There was a Caldors on Fordham Road. Many years ago, it was Alexander's in the Bronx. In New York City, there was a department store called Alexander's. So there was one on Fordham Road, right there in the corner, Alexander's. Fordham Road and the Grand Concourse. Alexander's. And then went out of business. Then it was Caldor for a few years. For a few years, it was Caldor. And then they went out of business. And then I forgot who owned it after that. Now it's like, it's a building now, and they have Cole. Oh yeah, Cole's is still there. So it was by Cole's. Okay, so I know what's that. I know Cole's. So that's on Central Avenue. That's on when you go up north. It's gonna be on this side when you're going up north. So Cole's is by I think by Party City, which, by the way, they went out of business. Party City just went out of business. IHOP is up there. And that, I think IHOP. Barnes & Noble used to be there. Still there. Of course, I know we're talking about Kohl's. I think that's by... Did you ever have Two Guys? I'm not. I know. There's a Five Guys. I know there's a Five Guys. I think it's a bank now where Sizzler was at. Yeah, I think it is. I'm trying to remember if it's a bank. Can't remember now. McRibs, Danny, are you the one who does the radio stream? I think I seen this. Well, I mean, I do radio. You know. All types of radio. So right now I'm just relaxing here. We're talking about whatever. On my live stream, we usually talk about whatever the topic is. Whatever everybody's talking about. So I talk about whatever everybody wants to talk about. But yeah, my channel is mostly radio and tech related. McRib said, yes, the appliance place. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so yeah. Andy says, Party City brags about being in Staples now. Yeah, Party City over here went out of business. They closed up last summer. They went out of business last summer. I think it was last summer they went out of business. Yeah, it is a revolving topic what we talk about here. Yeah, I'm just relaxing here tonight. I don't have to get up early or anything. I was working on my garage roof, removing that broken tree tree stump that came down and put a hole on my roof. Put a small hole on my roof. The chainsaw, I got most of the big stuff off, cut it up with a chainsaw, with the electric chainsaw. And then I use the loppers. You know what the loppers are? Loppers is a big pruning. You know the pruning scissor, whatever they call it, pruning. But the loppers are the big ones. You gotta click, click. That thing snaps branches like. So I wind up cutting most of it with the loppers. Yeah. Yeah, and I just threw them over the fence. So, but I cut them into smaller pieces. When I put it over the fence, you know, it's more compact now. It's more compact. So what's gonna happen is, of course, those branches that I cut up, they're gonna break down now. Like the smaller branches with the leaves, they're gonna break down and, you know, become organic matter and all that. So, you know, you can't see them from anywhere. You're not gonna see a big pile of leaves or branches because I cut them into smaller ones. And I just put it over the. But hey, it's not my tree. It's the city of Yonkers tree that piece fell on my property. So why am I gonna put it in bags? No, I just tossed it right back. And then they don't care anyway. They're not gonna know. So, you know, yeah. So I didn't chuck them over because I was standing over the roof. So I just threw it right there. I didn't have to toss it over. I just walked over the edge and put it right there. So the roof is nice and clean now. It's nice and clean. I even to finish it off, I brung out excuse me. I brought out the what do they call that? Anyway, I brought a blower. And I blew off the rest of it. Like any little small thing, I just blew it off right into the other side with the blower. Or the Works. It's called Works with an X. It's the vacuum mulcher with the blower. So I put it on blower and I just blew everything off to the other side. And that's it. So my garage roof is clean. It's clean. Andy says Barnes & Noble is taking over the Party City on Veterans Highway in Comac. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Barnes & Noble's still around. You know, I'm surprised that Barnes & Noble's still around. It survived all these, you know. I mean, you know, people still buy books. I haven't bought a book. I haven't bought a book in a long time. The last book I bought was the Amateur Radio Study booklet. I ordered that from Amazon. The Amateur Radio, the General Exam, the Technician one, and the General Exam. I ordered them from Amazon. That's the only book I bought recently. So, in recent history, those two books. That's it. Before that, I think it was a while since I bought a book, any book, to read. Todd said James went to Sizzler all the time years ago. I went to Sizzler a few times. And there's another buffet that I went to. It's called Ponderosa. They have one in the Bronx by Bay Plaza, by Co-op City. In the Bronx, there's Co-op City. There's a shopping center that's called Bay Plaza. I used to go to that Ponderosa like crazy. That's like Sizzlers. And buffet in there, oh my God, I used to go with my ex, we went there a few times. Ponderosa. It was called Ponderosa. I don't know if it was a chain Oh, okay, so yeah, okay, so so yeah, I didn't know it was a chain. Okay, so James said we had the Ponderosa, a ground round, and Beefsteak Charlie. I never been to Beefsteak Charlie's. I remember Beefsteak Charlie, but I never ate at Beefsteak Charlie's. I never ate at Beefsteak. We had in New York City. We had Beefsteak Charlie's, but Ponderosa, I that was one of my plate. That was one of my go-to buffets to go. Ponderosa, yeah, Ponderosa. I remember because my ex used to be jealous of the waitress. The waitress was extra nice to me, so one of the waitresses were really nice to me. So my ex used to get really jealous and all that. I know when you want to go to Ponderosa because you want to see that waitress, right? And I was like, no, but Ponderosa. Jane said they used to have the coupons on paper. A lot of places had coupons on paper. Todd said we had a Ponderosa and ground round with the peanuts. Okay. I heard of ground round too, but we never had. I know Ponderosa. That's what we were gonna have, but I never heard of ground round. I mean, I heard of it. It sounds familiar. Ground round. Uh, yeah. I also never ate a Cracker Barrel. There's no Cracker Barrel around here, but I know when I started going down south, then I saw Cracker Barrel. But I never ate it. I never ate at those. We never got to eat there. Cracker Barrel. So I heard of it, of course, because it does sound funny, but I never ate the Cracker Barrel. So yeah, so Taza, we have Ponderosa and ground round with the peanuts. James White said you threw the peanut shells on the ground in the ground round. Okay. I never heard of that. And then over here, of course, we got we have like we have supermarkets over here like Stu Leonard. Stu Leonard is one of those supermarkets. It's like a gourmet supermarket, if you want to call it that. I don't know. I mean, they sell everything there. They do have some good deals. So Stu Leonard, we have a Stu Leonard here. There's another one in Connecticut. I know they have another one in Connecticut. I think there's another one in New Jersey. I'm not sure. I think they have a couple of them now, a couple of more. But of course, I go to the one here in Yonkers, the Stu Leonard. So you walk into Stu Leonard, they have all these, it's like kid friendly too. They have like the cow that goes moo. You hit the big button and the cow goes moo. They have all these little things. And then of course when you go to the checkout line, they have a train. It's a G scale train. So right now they only have the locomotive. They only have like the locomotive. They used to have a whole train. Now they're down to the locomotive. And it just goes along the track. It's a long track. It goes over every checkout lane. There's a train that goes by over. So it's a G scale. It's a G scale. So so the locomotive is like this big. I think that's G scale or O scale. I think it's G scale. Before it used to be a couple of cars. Now it's down to one car, just a diesel engine. One of those. I don't know what model. I forgot the. Unit. So it's a G scale locomotive that goes around the checkout. It's above us. It goes around. James Foley said, "Too bad they closed Fuddruckers, the Fuddruckers near me." I never heard of Fuddruckers. Yeah, a lot of places. A lot of places are gone now. It's kind of like, sign of the times, Uh, just like electronics, we were talking about the other day. Like I remember, um, the 80s, the 80s. When you go on Fordham Road, as a matter of fact, in the 80s, if you go to 34th Street downtown around Herald Square, you will see nothing but electronic stores. Selling boom boxes, and all that, DJ equipment and all that. Now and then, that's all gone. Into the 90s, that became computers. Now that's all gone. All these electronic stores are gone now. Same thing, Fordham Road in the Bronx. If you go to Fordham Road in the Bronx, you will see a lot of electronic stores. Now they're all gone. There's like one left now. There's like one electronic store on Fordham Road. That's it. So if you go in there, you're gonna find like some DJ equipment. You'll still find like those big speakers. I don't know if you can see it from here. Like those big DJ speakers. You might still find those. Now you're gonna find, now of course they have a lot of other stuff now. And of course, in New York City we had Crazy Eddie. Remember Crazy? I don't know if you ever remember. I don't know if you ever heard of Crazy Eddie. That was the biggest. That was a big electronic chain store we had. Crazy Eddie. And then, of course, they went out of business. Of course, what happened? They were fudging the numbers and all that. And then, out of Crazy Eddie, we had the Wiz. Nobody beat the Wiz. That was another electronic, what you call it? You buy TVs, anything, any electronic, you go to the Wiz. So we had the Wiz. And then they went out of business. Nobody beat the Wiz, I don't know if you remember the commercial. So that's why I bought my first color TV. I bought my first color TV at the Wiz. It was a 20-inch. It was a 20-inch Fisher. The Wiz was one of the first ones to sell DVD players. Yeah, the Wiz. I remember my friend bought a laser disc. He bought it at the Wiz, a laser disc. He was the first guy in the block to have the laser disc. And he bought a couple of laser discs, of course, and it never caught on. The laser disc. And then DVDs came out after that. It was laser disc. I remember it was a VHS, VCR, VHS, and then laser disc came out. It didn't catch on. And then the CD player came out. The compact disc player came out. And then shortly after the compact disc player, DVD players came out. And that's when it killed Laserdisc. And DVDs killed VCRs. The DVDs killed the VCRs. Yeah. So Fuddruckers is still in business over in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Saw it last week. That's it, I think. Okay, McRib said that. Okay. I have not heard of Fuddruckers. I never heard of that brand. So, James Foley, I will go to Barry's Electronics in New York. Okay. I used to go to Crazy Eddie's every week. Of course, I don't know if they're still there. I know in Lower Manhattan you have by City Hall. I forgot what they call that park. Oh my God, what's the electronic place in Manhattan? I can't remember the top of my head. I know Andy probably remembers it. I have to look it up. Let me look it up. Let me see. Oh, J&R. J&R. No, J&R. J&R. I just looked it up. Yeah, so J&R, they had that whole, remember they had the whole block? Yeah, B&H, I know B&H also. I remember B&H. But J&R, yeah, B&H used to sell camera stuff too. But J&R was the one that sold. They had one that had computer stuff. They had the music world. Then they had the electronics. So it's like separate stores in the same block. In the same block. And right there in my hand, right before the Brooklyn Bridge, right there by City Hall. It's not far away from City Hall. I forgot what they call. I think it's Park Row. I forgot the name of the. Anyway, J&R. I remember J&R. I used to go there a lot. I used to go to J&R a lot. By City Hall. That's by City Hall. Yeah, J&R. But they're gone. They're gone. They're gone. They went out of business. Yeah. Yeah, the Wiz. Andy said the Wiz was one of the first stores to sell DVD players. Yeah. James Farley said we had Topps Appliance. I remember Topps Appliance, but we didn't have that around here. That was like in Jersey. That was a Jersey thing. You must know Delta in the Bronx. Delta. I'm not familiar with Delta. I don't know what you mean by Delta. Yeah, be more specific. It doesn't ring a bell right now, Delta. Yeah. James Farley said I had high-end laser disc player and about 100. Wow, you had 100 laser disc? Really? Wow. Oh, they do communication stuff. Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with Delta. I'm not familiar with Delta. Yeah. Wow, 100. You had 100 laser discs? Fuddruckers had ostrich burgers. Okay. Andy says Fuddruckers. I said Fuddruckers. Fuddruckers has 42 or 44 locations. Okay. Todd said I still have my Pioneer laser. I don't have a laser. I never owned one. Yeah, B&H. I remember B&H too. I used to go to when I got my Commodore computer, and my first Windows computer later on. When I had my 286, my first PC computer was a 286. So I would go to 47th Street Photo. I think it was called 47th Street Photo. Or 42nd Street Photo. Anyway, it's a photo place. They also sell electronics there. But I used to buy computer software from there. And they were run by Jewish, because they were closed on Saturdays. They were always closed on Saturdays because it's Jewish owned. And they were, and I used to go in there. Of course, they knew me. They said, "Hey, Danny, you're back. What do you want this time?" I used to go in there a lot. I think it was 47th Street Photo or 42nd Street Photo. But by the way, it wasn't on 42nd Street. It was like on 45th. I think it was like on 45th and 7th Avenue or something. 45th Street and 7th Avenue. Right outside Times Square. It wasn't in Times Square. It was a block away or two from Times Square. I used to always go in there. That's where I bought all my Commodore software. And then when I got my 286, my first computer, 286, I would go in there and buy all the Windows software for Windows 3.1. Because that was my first version of Windows, was Windows 3.1. Excuse me. It came on 7 floppy disk, 5 1/4, 7 disks. Was Windows 3.1. I think it was 7 disks, 7 floppies. I remember Windows 3.1. That was not networking. That was just Windows 3.1. No networking. Windows 3.1.1 was the networking. Windows for workgroups. I had Windows 3.1 or 3.0. Yeah. I was a master of DOS commands. Of course, I started with DOS. I started with the original DOS 3.3. Then it was DOS 5.0. Then it was DOS. Yeah, but I never had Windows for workgroups. I had Windows 3.0. And then eventually, I'm getting hiccups, sorry. And then if you wanted to connect to the internet, you had to get WinSock. You had to get it's called WinSock. WinSock. You had to download for networking. You had to download WinSock because that had the TCP/IP protocol and all that. So you had to download WinSock, and it was a pain to install. And then I went to Windows 95. So I had a 286. Then I bought a 386. This is before Pentium. This is way before Pentium computers. Intel 286. I sold that one. Then I built a 386. Windows 386. I mean, Intel 386, excuse me. 386 DX, not an SX. It was a DX. Because there's a difference between a DX and an SX. And of course, I had the coprocessor with it. So it was a Intel 386 with a 387 math chip. The coprocessor. Because you had a CPU, and then you had to put a math chip. If you was going to do, you need a math chip to make it. So it was a 387, i387. And then, in that one, I had Windows 95, but it didn't run too good. It was always crashing. I remember there was a big hype about Windows 95. I bought my Windows 95 from 47th Street Photo. And I was excited about Windows 95. It took forever to install. And by the way, Windows 95, that was my first CD-ROM. My first CD-ROM was a 1X. So the Windows 95, I got mine on a CD. Because I had Windows 95 on floppies. But I had on a CD. So I was excited. I see my CD spinning. It took forever to install. And it crashed. First time I did it, it crashed. I was like, God damn it. And finally, I gave up on the 386. I went back down to 3.0. And then I took out the 386 chip. I put a 486. I put a Cyrix 486 chip. It's a 486 DLC. That was the name. I still have that. By the way, I still have that chip put away. I have it stored away. I still have that 486. I still have that Cyrix 486. That was 1994. 1994, I believe. I still have that chip. I still have the memory and all that. I don't have the board anymore, but I have that chip. I still have the chip. A Cyrix 486 DLC Basically, that overclocks. You put that on a 386 socket, it overclocks a 386 to a 486. And I ran Windows 95, and it ran. It ran, it ran. Let me read some of the comments. Andy said Windows XP is the GOAT. Yeah, Windows XP is great. Windows XP has been. James Farley said 6.2. Yeah. So yeah. So the DX, yeah, exactly. James, the DX had a built-in coprocessor. The SX did not have a coprocessor. The SX you had to run yeah. So I had a DX. Yeah, that's right. So I had a DX. So I didn't have to have the code. My 286 had a coprocessor. That one I remember having a coprocessor. And then my first Pentium, I bought the computer from Daymark. You know the catalog, Daymark catalog. They make the DAC radio, DAC metal detector and all that. I mean, radar detector for the car. It was a magazine, a catalog. It was from Winnetka. I can't pronounce the town. It's in Minnesota. Winnetka. Daymark. Denmark, like DAMARK. Yeah, like the sharper image. It was a catalog, Daymark. So I ordered the IBM Activa from there. Because it was 4 easy payments. 4 easy payments. Of course, it took me forever to pay off the other 3 payments. I only made 1 payment. And that was a Pentium 66. I got a Pentium 66. 66 megahertz. Yeah, I used to get Crutch, but I never bought anything from Crutchfield. It was Daymark. Daymark was my catalog. Daymark. Oh my God, when I used to get that catalog, I used to drool at all the little gadgets because they had all these gadgets in there. They had computers and radio. They had like shortwave. By the way, I got 2 shortwave radios still from Daymark. But one of them doesn't work anymore. The other one is kind of the DAC. That was their brand for their radio, DAC, DAK. Yeah, they sell like everything. They sell like these VCRs that can dub, and they sell. Yeah, they sell a lot of cool stuff. So I don't have it here. Do I have a Daymark radio here? Let me see. Do I have a Daymark? No, they're upstairs. No, they're upstairs because they're not working. It's not working anymore. I have two Daymark radios upstairs. Shortwave radios, portable shortwave radios. DAC. That was their brand, DAC. DAK. So anyway, I bought my Activa Pentium 66, Windows 95. I bought it from there. I ordered it from there. And I ordered a 17-inch monitor. A 17-inch monitor from Daymark. So I was the shit back then, bro. You know, it was a 17-inch monitor in the 90s. You was the shit, bro. You had a fucking monitor, bro. You would have had a 14-inch. I had a 17-inch, baby. I was flexing. I was flexing, baby. I was flexing in 1996 with a 17-inch. I was flexing, bro. with my 2X CD player. I I was flexing, baby. Yeah, ViewSonic. That's what I had too. I had a ViewSonic. That's what I had a ViewSonic. I was flexing, bro. I was like, yeah, baby. ViewSonic. Yo, that shit costs a fortune, bro. 4 easy payments on that too. This shit was I think it was like $500 something. It was like 500. You know, I was working. You know, I was working. By then, I was working at an office. You know, that was my first tech job. So I was dropping money, bro. I was dropping money. So I bought me that 17-inch, bro. I was flexing, bro. In my house, people see myself, yo, damn, Daddy, you got that shit, yo. I was like, that's right. That's right, bro. I got 17-inch. I got a Pentium 66 with I forgot how many megs of RAM. I forgot how many megs of RAM I had. I think I had like 16 megabytes of RAM or 8 megabytes of RAM. I forgot. Not gigabytes, megabytes. I think I had like 8 megabytes of RAM or something. It was like, wow, bro. I had the microphone. You know, when you go on AOL, you want to chat, right? You know, you want to chat. You know what I'm talking about? You want to chat, bro. I had the microphone. I had the little skinny microphone. You go to AOL. You be like, chatting away. Yo, you want a cyber? Yeah, remember they used to tell you that? Yo, you want a cyber? No, I had one with the bass. It's a skinny microphone. It's skinny plastic. It goes over. It's a condenser mic, but it was like on a bass. Yo, you want a cyber? And then I ran to my ex in there. My ex was on AOL. And then, and then you could send photos. And that's when, of course, I got photos. You know, she would send me a photo. Like, it take forever to download. Because you was on 28.8. Because I was on 28.8. Then I went to 56K. So, even downloading a photo. So she would send me a photo. It takes forever to render. Oh my God. Emailing me photos and shit. She would email me photos and shit. She would scan them. Because you had to take a photo. You literally had to scan it. Because there was no digital cameras. By the way, there was no digital cameras back then. So you literally take a photo, a photo from whatever, and you had to scan it. And by the way, not everybody had a flatbed scanner. It was expensive. A flatbed scanner was expensive in the 90s. It was expensive to have a scanner. So I had one. I had a flatbed scanner, but it was expensive. I bought it. It was like, I think it was like $300 I paid for mine. And it was slow as hell. It was slow as hell, the scanner. And you had to hook it up to the parallel port. Parallel port. The scanner. You remember the zip drive? I had that too, the zip drive. That's the floppies that they could hold up to 100 megabytes. 100 megabyte floppies. I had the zip drive. And I think only worked a couple of months, and it finally started clicking. And it just corrupted my data. They call it the click of death. The zip drive. And that one, you had to hook it up to You could do parallel port or SCSI. So for the SCSI, you have to buy a SCSI card. So you put the SCSI card inside your PC, and then it has a SCSI connector, and you hook up your zip drive to SCSI. The SCSI was faster. So SCSI. Yeah, iOmega used to make the zip drive. So I had the parallel. I didn't have the SCSI version because the SCSI is more expensive. I had the parallel port one, and that thing was slow as hell. That thing was slow as hell, bro. It was slow. You know what's a parallel port to try to get data? It was slow as hell, and it would crash like crazy. Yeah, I still got SCSI drives. I got old SCSI cards too. I have SCSI cards. I have SCSI drives from the 90s. I do have them put away. I have a lot of stuff in the containers. Old SCSI drives. I'm thinking about I was rebuilding an old PC with SCSI drive. Maybe put Windows 98 or Windows 95, maybe, but Windows 98. Or maybe Windows 2000. I could probably put Windows 2000. Yeah, legacy hardware. Yeah, I still have a lot of old stuff. And then of course after the Pentium 66, then I got a Pentium 2. I still have the board and all that. The Pentium 2, the chip is like a big chip, and you have to put it on the board. It's a big chip. The Pentium 2. I don't even remember the Pentium 2. It was a big chip. So I had the Pentium 2, then I had the Celeron. The Celeron, they had the fan and all that. The Pentium 2 had the little fan and the big heat sink. It's a card. The whole processor was a card. That was the only processor that was a card, was the Pentium 2. And then I think even the Pentium 3 there might have been a version that had the card, but the Pentium 2 is the one that was like the card. Let me read some of the. Yeah, I remember that all those anti-glare screens so people don't look at spy on you and all that. ViewSonic had Trinitron tubes. Yeah, they were pretty good. McRib said, yeah, microphone on top of your screen with Velcro. Yeah, some people did that. Todd said, Gateway was my first computer from the new Gateway store in Plano, Texas. Okay. James Farley, I was never able to connect at 56K, too far from the phone box. Yeah. I remember connecting at 14.4 with my 286. My 286 computer, it was 14.4, connected to Prodigy. Then I went up to 28.8. 28.8. And then when I got my Pentium, because I was at 28.8. Then when I got my Pentium 66, that's when I had a 56K modem. 56K modem. The modem that I had was from I think it was US Robotics. US Robotics. It was a US Robotics 56K Flex. It was called 56K Flex. US Robotics. It was an internal modem. I had an internal modem. I didn't have an external modem. I had an internal modem. And then I finally had DSL in 98. In our area, we finally had DSL from Bell Atlantic. At the time, before it was Verizon, it was called Bell Atlantic. New York Telephone, Bell Atlantic, then Verizon. So it used to be New York Telephone. New York Telephone. I remember that growing up in New York Telephone. Then it became Bell Atlantic in the 80s. I mean, not the 80s, the 90s. It was Bell Atlantic. And then I think before the turn of the millennium, or whatever, before 2000, then we had Verizon. It was called Verizon. They changed it to Verizon. That's where it is now. It's called Verizon. But before that was Bell Atlantic. Yeah. Yeah, iOmega. Floppy disk. Oh, I remember those. Yeah, I still have a whole bunch of I have James Earl Jones was the spokesman for Bell Atlantic. And then Verizon for DSL. Yeah. I'm going back and forth. I'm skipping here. Yeah, James Foley, I bought a 300 per inch color scanner from Daymar for 150. Yeah. Yeah, Daymar has some good stuff. Todd, Atari 800, 400, 800 XL was my first computers using dial-up modem. My first one was a Commodore, but I didn't. I had a 300 baud modem. I still have the modem. I still have a 300. I have a 300 baud modem for the Commodore 64. James Foley said, "Don't get me started on Stripe SCSI drive." Okay. Yeah. Todd said Chicago had a huge user group get together for computers. User group. Are you talking about news groups? News group. I remember news groups. News groups. Andy says, "Yay, legacy hardware." Yeah. James Foley, I had a dual Pentium 2 tower a long time ago. Yeah, that's what I had. I had towers. I had a full tower. My 386 was a full tower. It was about this tall. It had a whole bunch of bays. I could have put like 8 hard drives in there. Like 3 or 4 CD-ROMs. It was a full tower. And I sold it. You know how much that case is worth now? You try to buy that case on eBay now, is a pre. Now it's hard to get those old AT. That was before ATX. That was an AT. But before ATX, there was AT. AT. PC used to be XT. Then it became AT. Then ATX. So AT. That 386 was an AT case. That case, I looked it up on eBay a few months ago. It's ridiculous now. They're expensive. They're harder to find now. Because, by the way, you can probably get that. I know a couple of places you can probably still get it. The Computer Museum in Maryland. They do have sometimes they do have a sale where you can go in there and buy some of the surplus merchandise, surplus computers and all that they want to just sell out. And you can buy them. I know the Computer Museum does it in Maryland. I need to look it up. But I really don't have room for all that stuff anymore. But you can go like a place like that. They do have a place. I saw a video a couple of months ago or so that somebody went to the Computer Museum. I've been there once. It's in Maryland. The Computer Museum. And in there, they do sell, like there's a 1-day, a 2-day event. They sell, they do it once a year or whatever. They sell out because they get a lot of donated hardware and all that, and they have a lot of it. So you can go there and buy an old Mac if you want or whatever they have on. And sometimes they have it on pallets. You go there and you could just buy whatever you want to buy. So maybe in there I could probably get a case like that. But I wouldn't buy it on eBay right now. eBay's asking for $300, $400 or stuff like that now. No way I would pay for that. I would not pay that much for it. But yeah, the case that I had was a big case. I remember. For my 386. For my 386 and then my 486. The same case. Then I sold that off. I forgot who I sold it to. Can't remember. And then I bought myself the 280, the IBM, the Pentium 66. But yeah. And that was a full tower. That was a full tower. That was what it's called, full tower. Yeah. When I was 2 hours and 31 minutes, I've been on. Okay. I had a 56. James Farley had a 56K modem from Packard Bell external with all the cool lights and with flash. Yeah. I never had an external modem. All my modems have been internal. I have one now put away, but that was I think I bought it years ago at a computer show. Well, of course, not a US Robot, some other brand. I forgot what it's just sitting in one of those boxes. I have a bunch of internal ones. I have a lot of internal modems. I have I probably have about 20 of them. Modems. Internal modem. I have about 20 of them at least. Because I have a couple of containers that all I have is network cards, dial-up modems, old video cards. I have a couple of old TV cards, things like that. SCSI cards. Things like that. ATA. I have an ATA card that you could put. I could put more hard drives on an old AT computer. So if I want to add more hard drives, the motherboard the old motherboards you only could put 2. I think I could put up to that one. I could put 4 more or something like that. It's not a RAID card. It's just another controller card to add more drives. My friends had a T1 line. I remember the T1 line. I always wanted to get one when I was hosting. I used to pay for years ago. Of course, you know my history. I told everybody already. I used to host websites from, I used to, make money hosting banner ads and all that. So I would pay web hosting. I've been to many web hosting places. I started with just simple web hosting. By the time I retired in 2008, I was renting servers. I would rent a dedicated server, and then I would just be, because web hosting, a lot of people start with web hosting. They get a few, well, now is you get more. But back then, you would get about 300 megabytes of storage. That's it. Just to put a web page up. You probably can host one domain name. Then you have multi-hosting, where you can host several domain names. But you're sharing your account with thousands of people on the same computer. So it will be slow. And then you rent a dedicated server. So that means the hosting place has a physical computer box for you. And you have root access to the box. And then you can set up. So that's what I did for years. I was paying web hosting, but I would rent a server, dedicated server. And I did that for many years. That's how I learned about web admin. I would host my own web server. And sometimes I would give people an account. And they couldn't, especially at that time, my best friend, he didn't want to pay web hosting so much. So I would say, okay, look, you know what? You can move your site here on my server. So I would make him an account. I would do the DNS. I would point the domain to his folder. And he had his own website, and he could just run it the way he wants to run it. Because we were kind of in the same business. and vice versa. But I never, even though he used to invite me to, I used to always pay for my own server because I didn't like to be dependent on others. I always had my own web server. And I did that for a long time. I did that for a while. I started my first website was in 1994 or something. I can't remember, 94. And then I retired in 2008 because now it's different now. Social media now, it's a lot bigger now. Now you can make more money on social media than your own website. You can make a lot more money on your own social media than having a dedicated website, a dedicated .com website. Social media changed that. So before, if you had your own .com name and you had a website and it was getting traffic, you was making money. But social media now, social media, it's not like that. Now social media, people make money on social media alone. They don't have their own website. They just use social media to make money. So now it's not a big deal to get your own .com domain now because you have social media. So, it evolved over years. So because back then, if you had your own .com website and you had stuff on your website, people had to go to your website. And then you could have a member only area and people pay you to have a members only area and they can get them more content. But that's gone now. Now that's not the case. Now social media now, where you don't pay anything. You don't pay to host your site. You just have social media and you post everything on social media. So it changed the whole model to make money online. Before, years ago, it was recommended that you have your own website, .com website. People say you should still have your own website, but it's not the case anymore. I find it for me, better to have a social media because the number one thing is search engine traffic. When you have your own website, you have to rely on search engine traffic. That's number one. And for years, I would get traffic to my websites, but I never got I knew people that were getting millions of hits on their websites a month, hundreds of thousands a day, like 100,000 views a day or something like that, like crazy numbers, like millions of hits. They call it hits a month. But I never got to be like that. So that's why it was hard. I made money, but I didn't make fuck you money. Let's just call it that. I knew people that were making like 10 grand a month, 15 grand a month. I wasn't making that type of money. A good month, I probably made like $1,500. So I was struggling. I wasn't making I wasn't making I knew some, like I said, I knew people that were making they were making money. What's $15,000 a month? Just banner ads and commit. You had a lot of referrals, commissions. Man, I was like, damn. I never got to that. I never got to that point. That's the story of my life, bro. When it comes to the channel, I have a channel, but I never got that 1 million. I never got that viral video yet. I'm still waiting for that viral 1 million views on one video. I never got that yet. Probably never gonna happen. Or get to 1 million subscribers. You know, it's not like I'm not trying. I'm trying, but you know, I know I see myself one day getting 10,000 subscribers. First, I got to get to 7,000, then 8,000, then 9, then 10. So I can see myself getting 10,000 subscribers probably in the next few years. Probably the next 3 years, hopefully, if not sooner. But you got to get to 10,000 first. Then you got to go for the 100,000 to get that plaque, to get that YouTube silver plaque. That's the 100,000. The silver plaque. I'm a long way from there, bro. I'm a long way. I'm a long way from that. Yeah. Andy says James Earl Jones was the spokesman for Bell Atlantic, then Verizon for DSL. Yeah, I know. I remember that voice. James Farley, I remember Computer Shopper was before. I used to buy Computer Shopper all the time. Every month I bought it. Like that, I used to call it the Bible. When I built my first computer, it was Computer Shopper. I ordered everything from Computer Shopper. So hard drive, I ordered it from this place. I think it was Dirt Cheap Drives. You remember that? On Computer Shopper, there was a place called Dirt Cheap Drives. I think they're still around today. I think they're dirtcheapdrives.com now. But I remember Dirt Cheap Drives. So I bought my hard drive from there. And then my memory, I bought it from another place, another classified ad in Computer Shopper. I bought my memory from another place. Everything was mail order. Hard drive from one place, memory from another place, motherboard from another place, computer case from another place. Yeah, okay, so you remember Dirt Cheap Drives. I bought a 40 megabyte drive from them, yeah. I think the first drive I bought from them was 80 megabyte. It was 80 megabyte. I think it was like $300. I think it cost me like $300, I remember. Yeah, that was before state tax and all that. You would just you would call. You would call. And then, you know, credit card information over the phone. Then they will mail it to you. So you had to call. You had to call the number and you order it through the phone. Everything was over the phone. I ordered everything on the phone. Right? You order everything from the phone. You had to read the credit card number to them. Expiration date. There was no, by the way, back then there was no CVC number. It was just your name and address, credit card number, expiration date. That's it. That's it. There was no security code or whatever. Nope. You just, and then I guess on their end they would, okay, and then okay, it's gonna be mailed, and it would take. It wasn't a 2 or 3 days. It was like a week. At least a week it would take. But yeah, Dirt Cheap Drives. That was I ordered one drive from there. I think it was an 80 megabyte, if I remember. My first hard drive was a 20 megabyte. That was the one from, and by the way, remember when you had to do double space? Remember on DOS? Remember there was double space? Yeah, it was about a week. Remember there was drive space? Or remember the original one was double space? It was a DOS utility to double your hard drive space. So I remember my 20 megabyte hard drive, and that one I ran double space. It turned it into a theoretical 40 megabyte drive. So what it does, it would compress a bunch of it would compress files. And then I think I did it with the 386 also. But then after that, I said, I'm not doing this. Just get a bigger drive. I never did it after. I never did the double space thing. And of course, I never did soft RAM. I never did the soft RAM thing later on. I knew a couple of people that were doing soft RAM. I guess you use your hard drive space to make more RAM, which is stupid. It just, I knew people that did the soft. I never did the soft RAM thing. You know, the RAM. So say you got, whatever, because I remember that utility called soft RAM or something. I never did that. James Farley, I had something called a hard card. I never had that. I heard of that. I heard about the hard card. You put it in the 8-bit slot or whatever. I guess that was the original like SD the original what do they call that? The original like SD drive, whatever. Solid state. I would think that was like the original solid state. Then there was one that was a physical hard drive on a card, but it was a small hard drive. I don't know. But yeah, I remember the hard card. I never owned one. I never got to own one of those hard card. So yeah, I had something called a hard card. It would be a compression drive slipped into 8-bit slot. Yeah, you would put on the 8-bit slot of the motherboard. A hard card. Anyway, I'm gonna sign off now. I've been on for 2 hours and 48 minutes, and it's 12:55 in the morning here. I'm gonna stay up for a little while. I'm gonna watch a couple of videos, and then I'm gonna call it a night. Let me read another comment here. James Farley, yeah, I had one 20 megabyte that I compressed. Yeah, I remember my first hard drive because it was DOS 6.0. DOS 6.0 came out with the double space. Because I remember double space. That was the utility for it. And it would take forever. By the way, it would take forever to convert it to double space. If you have files in a computer, it would take forever. So you had to watch the whole, yellow. It was like yellow bar to convert it to a double space drive. I remember that. Anyway, I'm going to sign off now. Everybody, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Have a great night. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.